Welcome to Got Mead Live. We're going to try something a little bit different tonight because I didn't have the chance to get a guest. Had a bunch of things happening and it just didn't work out. So we're going to go straight to Making Mead Back to Basics tonight. And today we are talking about fruit. This will actually probably end up being a two-parter because in 2 weeks we've got Ken Schramm back for our 1-year anniversary. And because he is so into fruit and does so much with fruit, we're going to pick his brains. So, and I've already warned him so he knows what to expect. But so we probably won't be on as long tonight, but that's okay. Sometimes, that's a good thing. So what are we drinking tonight? Not much. Sounds of it. I'm having tea and water because I've got like this massive headache from the weather coming in. So.
Oh, cool. Am I the designated drinker then?
I thought you said you weren't going to be drinking. Gee.
No, I've got the rest of that bottle of the dry mead that I opened last week.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You are the designated drinker because I'm doing that stupid juice.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
No booze for me tonight.
Okay. So. All right. So, housekeeping, guys. Listen live on the Got Mead website at gotmead.com. And if you're... and you can also listen to the previous shows there as well. Each one of the episodes has its own player, and you can also do a drop-down on the main show page to pull up the previous shows. If you're mobile, you can listen to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, or TuneIn Radio, and of course on Spreaker, which is where we broadcast from. So just search Got Mead Live on any of those places and we'll pop right up. And of course, we also have our player on our Facebook page at gotmead.com, at facebook.com/gotmead, and go check that out. There's just a tab there that says Got Mead Live, and you can just go straight to that and listen to the live show or again to any of our previous shows. Download the apps for the various resources on your iOS and Android devices, and just run it there. Of course, replay is available on all those places and also on Stitcher. And if you want to find us on Facebook, you can find us at facebook.com/gotmead, and also the Got Mead group, which is at I don't know if it's got a name. But anyway, if you just search Got Mead, it'll pop right up. Twitter, you can get us at Got Mead Now. And if you can't call us, feel free to tweet us, because I'm usually watching the feed, and I should catch up to you shortly after you post. For Making Mead Back to Basics questions, if you go to gotmead.com, put your mouse over the Got Mead Live radio show, the drop-down will give you the place where you can give us and send us a question, and we'll get to it here on the show. Don't be disappointed if you don't hear it right away. We try to take the questions in the order that they come in, and also try to tie them to whatever subject matter we're working on, so so that it's more relevant and more info for you. If you want to call in during the show, especially tonight, lines are open for the whole show. So call in at 803-443-MEAD. That's 803-443-6323. And if you want to see, all of this keep happening, we're all volunteers. So this show, the resources that I had to pay for to make this show happen and everything, as well as all the resources that need to happen for Got Mead to stay online, happen because of patrons, for people who sign up to support the site. So become a supporting patron member. That's only $25 a year. Get access to the exclusive patron forums. That's where the award-winning recipes are, and that's also where the award-winning recipe makers are. So you definitely want to get in there. It's well worth the $25. And you can do that by going to gotmead.com, clicking on the forum, and you'll see a link right there for sign up as a patron member. And, go ahead and do that. Give us your $25. We need it. Realistically, it does go to support the site. Every penny that comes in on the site pretty much goes right back into the site at one point or another. So, help us support Got Mead by giving us your support, and we appreciate that. So, AJ, what do we got tonight?
Tonight we're going to talk about fruit, and I figured we'd start with what fruit brings to the bottle, as it were, and then talk a little bit about, preparation, and when do you use it, and what do you do when you're done, and then I figured we could talk about fruits that need specific attention once we're done going over the general stuff.
Yeah, which is why I'm glad I'm here, because I've never made a fruit mead before, and I'm about to start making my first one, which I was just telling AJ is a strawberry pineapple.
Nice.
You're
gonna make a strawberry pina colada mead?
Yeah.
Daiquiri mead.
You need to throw a little coconut in there, and you'll be good.
Yeah, right.
You're in Florida, right?
I actually just picked up 6 coconuts this morning, and I have them in yeah, I got the husk now. So I'm here to help as much as possible. I'm not a very fruity sort of mead maker. I mostly do traditionals. But I'm exactly the kind of guy that needs to hear this show. So,
I'm sorry, Manny, but we're gonna have to let you go and delegate you to visitor mode for this show.
No. He can ask the questions.
That's true. Yeah, we won't have to bring him in and let him go, and bring him in and let him go.
Right.
Because sometimes I blather and I don't get to the point, and he can rein me in. It's all good.
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah.
Right. There you go.
Okay.
So why do we put fruit in our mead? Why would you adulterate your lovely honey with fruit? Well, for me, a lot of the reason is because I've got the fruit on hand and I want to do something with it.
And because strawberries are effing awesome.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Vicky, what do you find? Why do you make Mellmels?
Actually, I make Mellmels because, unlike Manny, Mellmels are pretty much right up there as one of my favorite mead styles. I mean, that and Methaglens, I'd have to, if you asked me to pick one, I'd have to think about it. But the two of those styles have always been the styles that I make the most. I mean, I love berries and fruit, and haven't done a ton with citrus outside of JAOs, but most of my Mellmels are probably berry based. And then for I use a lot of apples because I make sizers, so, and I kind of count those as Methaglens because my sizers are almost always spiced. And there's a lot of people that slap me around for that, but that's what I like, so that's what I make.
Well, that's totally fair. Yeah. One of the main reasons I use a lot of fruit is because, well, as I've mentioned before, I started as a winemaker, not really making mead. And so a lot of times what I would do is I would, ferment something and then take the fruit bag out, and I guess I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I would make mead with the dregs so that I could tell maybe next time whether I wanted to actually a full Mellmel batch with it the next time instead of just using sugar for the first batch. Mm-hmm. So I'd sort of feel it out, how does this work with the honey I've got by doing a second run with it. But, for me, if I were to make a wine and I didn't use fruit, then I'm essentially fermenting sugar water. So I have zero experience using fruit in secondary. Because as a winemaker, there's nothing to do if you're not putting your fruit in primary, and that's just how I tend to go.
I've done fruit in primary, and then I've done fruit in secondary, and then I've done fruit in both primary and secondary, and mainly in the course of experimenting with what's going to work for that particular mead or to get the volume of fruit flavor that I'm looking for. I've noticed, like, for instance, when I made a strawberry mead, it was the last strawberry mead I made was quite a while ago, but when I did it, I put the fruit in the primary, and it fermented out a lot of the fruit character, and more than I wanted it to. So I ended up throwing more strawberries in the secondary to bring that back up, which sadly took it so that, well, not sadly, I liked it. It had a lot of fruit character when it was done, but from a judging perspective, it would have been out of balance. So, strictly from a style perspective, it was out of balance, but I loved it because it was like all this honey and strawberry, and oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You don't make a mead to be judged unless you're making a mead to be judged. You make what you want to drink.
Yep, exactly. And don't worry about if it's perfect from a style perspective. Make it so it tastes good, because that's
what you want to drink. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and professional meaderies are learning that now. For the longest time, they made technically correct meads, but that's not what the drinking public doesn't want. Technically correct meads. The drinking public wants meads that they like.
Exactly.
And they don't
and
always
it may be the best dry mead in the entire world, and if you don't like dry anything, you're not going to want it.
Nope. Exactly.
And and also I think having fruits in your mead also sort of makes a bit of a lead-in for trying to get people over from the wine crowd.
Yeah, it's definitely a gateway mead. It's an easy drinker, especially if you do it as a session. Oh my gosh, then it's really a gateway. Because it's a lower alcohol, so it makes it way easier to drink. But
also done way faster too.
Oh yeah, totally. It finishes up in jig time, and it's easier, honestly, I think, in some ways. So
yeah, can I ask you guys, like, as someone who's about to try their first fruit mead and who's never done it before, what might I want to make sure I have on hand equipment-wise before I even buy fruit?
Well, I would say, let me see, something to mash the fruit with. I mean, I always mash up my fruit. I freeze it first, and then I mash it up after I thaw it back out to basically break up as many cell walls as possible so you get as much juice as you can get.
Yeah, I am forever on the lookout for a potato masher that won't lose all the blueberries.
Yeah, I know. Mine does that too. It's constant. You have to beat the crap out of them because I use a potato masher on mine too, and it's the same thing. You want a mesh bag because a lot of times, well, actually probably most of the time, you're going to be putting the fruit into a bag. Otherwise, you end up with like 2 to 3 inches of spooge at the bottom that you got to try to rack through, and it's a pain.
Yeah, and the nice thing with putting it in a bag is I keep meaning to put a hook in my ceiling so I can just pull the bag out and hang it for a little bit and let it drip, because you get a much better yield because you're not losing a whole lot to the spooge, as Vicky calls it.
I don't know where that word came from, but I used it at one point and I like it, so I keep using it. It sounds cool, spooge. Yeah, spooge. But yeah, and you're right with you gotta if you let it drip, for the people out there that are going, why let it drip? It's because you want to there's a lot of juice that gets hung up in the spooge, in the leftover solids that are from the fruit, whatever you've got. And
it's like when you're making a cup of coffee in one of those old ones where you put the coffee in the filter and you pour the water in the filter and you wait for it to drain. This is the waiting for it to drain.
Exactly. And I've actually done it where I've poured the spooge into a parchment or mesh lined strainer and put that over like a sanitized gallon jug to get back whatever I can get. And another method that I've used is sanitize my hands and then twist Jeez, Manny, I don't need to see that stuff when I'm trying to talk. I'm not going to say it out loud because, well, yes, we are marked explicit. That's just...
We just explained to Vicky what spooge meant.